Hello, everyone. I am Ms. Toombs, school counselor with Mechanicsville High School, and I'm here with my fellow MHS school counselor, Ms. Alga. We'd like to welcome you to our Hanover County Annual College Jumpstart Career Counseling Edition. In this recording, we will be focusing on career counseling information and resources. Hanover County career counselors Jared Collier and Shannon Edwards are here with us today to answer our questions. And we also have one of our wonderful Mechanicsville High School students, Caden Bunting, here to ask them. So I will now turn it over to Caden, who will get us started with our first question.
So what are some career counseling resources that are available for students?
Thank you, Caden, and thank you everyone for having us today. Again, I'm Shannon Edwards. I'm the career counselor that serves both Atlee and Patrick Henry High Schools. But in terms of career counseling resources for students, right now what you're looking at is our Hanover Career Counseling YouTube page. And that is really just kind of a one-stop shop, best resource that we have that's virtual, and you can access kind of at any time for any of the events and content and things that we do throughout the school year. And certainly meeting with us as an in-person resource, whether it's in person or via Zoom, is a great thing as well. But we do put everything that we do, again, throughout the school year out here. So what we have, and you're kind of looking through as we're scrolling through all the different virtual college, military, trade and technical school visits that we do throughout the school year. Again, we will record those and then we will post them out for our students and families to view at any time that they're available. So whether they can attend the event virtually live or whether they aren't able to do that at that time but could view it later, that's kind of why we put it out here. So it's really accessible for anyone at any time. We do have 3 different playlists. And Jared, I don't know if you're able to click on that one there, but perfect, thank you. So what we do is we kind of house this information in 3 different buckets. So we have the virtual, what we call our career cafes. And so we release a career cafe on a monthly basis, and we have different companies, businesses, people come in and talk about their particular career field. And after we do that visit with them, then we put that visit and information into this career cafe playlist so that it can be viewed. We also have that second one there, the virtual college and military visits playlist. So all those videos that we were just scrolling through a moment ago, those would all be housed in here. And you can see right there that we've done up to 86 visits alone this school year. So we do quite a bit. So if you have a need and you know that you're interested in a school, go out there and view our visit, because you'll be getting really current information, which could be really helpful for you. So chances are we probably have done a visit with that school, certainly if they're in state, but we do a lot of out of state and even other countries come in and have their schools visit with us. So check that out always. And then that third bucket there are the HCPS. You can see it's our virtual college boot camp that we did last year. But that's kind of just a general area that we will post any kind of videos that we have that are outside of those other 2 areas. So all of these college panel videos that we're going to be doing, we're going to be posting there. Any kind of instructional videos, maybe how to request a transcript or parchment, how to write a college essay, all of those types of things are going to be in that third bucket there. So definitely want to be checking out our Hanover Career Counseling YouTube page. And again, as I mentioned, signing up to meet with us individually or in small groups, we certainly do that all the time. And we welcome students and parents and families to come and visit with us. So thank you. That's a really good question.
Thank you. So how do you sign up for a college and military visit? And what if a student is in class during the event?
So, Caden, thank you very much. And just as a quick introduction, I am Mr. Collier. I am the career counselor at both Mechanicsville and Hanover High Schools. And we do, as Ms. Edwards mentioned, we do have college military visits. This year, they have all been 100% virtual. Next year, we feel that that's probably going to continue. There may be some in-person type of visits that go on next year as hopefully some restrictions and just feasibility of things relaxes a little bit. But we've really enjoyed the virtual aspect of these visits from colleges and from organizations and from the military recruiters. When we are having an event, or any kind of virtual event, we are going to send out that information on Schoology. It's going to be on your announcements, and every time we add the link to sign up. So you'll sign up, we get that you've signed up, and sometime the day of the event, we will email you or send you a message on Schoology, the link for the actual virtual event. But also we have this career counseling center, virtual career center that I'm showing you right now. We're going to make sure that everybody has access to that. But on this, you can click on a variety of different things. But one of them that you can click on is, to sign up for these events.
And you could actually go to the college pennant there and on the right side. And when you click on that, if it allows us to do that, it will actually take you to our virtual college visit sign up form. So that's there. And kind of as Jared mentioned just a moment ago, we are constantly pushing this sign up information out through Schoology and through other forms of communication, but it also lives on that virtual career center that you were just looking at a moment ago. So same with our career cafes.
Thank you. What is the senior scholarship application and where can I find it? Ms. Edwards, I think you're muted.
Thank you, Kaden. I appreciate that. So the senior scholarship application is kind of our way to pull together information from seniors that we can utilize to consider them for scholarships that are run through our respective high schools. So, and Jared's going there right now, and he's going to click on the scholarship information, and that will kind of show you how you can get to our senior scholarship application. But really, that application is really important because we ask that every senior, strongly encourage that every senior completes the senior scholarship application because we truly use that information to consider you for scholarships. And we have many scholarships that are run through our high school and through our senior scholarship committee. So without doing that application, you're really kind of keeping yourself out of being considered for several scholarships that simply by doing that senior scholarship application, you could be considered for. So again, it's kind of our way to pull together senior candidates for consideration. And the application probably takes anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes to fill out. You basically do some general demographic information on yourself. There's also questions in there. It might ask you, have you ever been a part of Ashland Youth Soccer League or Little League or other different community organizations or groups throughout our area? And the reason for those very specific questions most likely are because there's a scholarship tied to them. So if you said, yes, I did Ashland, Ashland Youth Soccer League, then that's going to help us because we're going to be able to sort through our list of seniors that filled out the senior scholarship application and pull out those ones that did the Ashland Youth Soccer League and consider you for that scholarship. So that's why really going through and being so careful and thoughtful about the information you're putting in your application, that's why it's so important because we really do take a look at it. In addition to just basic contact and demographic information, you're also going to be doing a personal statement that's about 250 words minimum or less. And then also we have students, we kind of have this section where you can share any additional information, of course, confidentially, that you would like for the Senior Scholarship Committee to be aware of. So we really want to give you the opportunity to give us as much information to consider you for all these wonderful scholarships that our high schools offer. So make sure, seniors, that you do your senior scholarship application. It will open on August 1st. And typically we keep it open all the way through the end of December. So keep an eye out for those notifications from us.
Thank you. Where can students find scholarships?
So, and this question actually is kind of a continuation of the last question. And one thing I want to add to what Ms. Edwards mentioned about this senior scholarship application, really we have roughly probably about a third of our local scholarships are decided on that, from that application. And of course, there are other local committees, local donors and organizations that are offering scholarships, and they want to see your application. But what we do as career counselors is we look back at that application that you filled out in the fall, and if we have a scholarship that is going to a student who wants to go into journalism, or a student who wants to go into English education, or a student that was in the band. So what we will do is we'll look back on that application, and even though we're not choosing for that scholarship, we will a lot of times contact you. Don't rely on us to do that. You want to be doing your own research and using the resources that we have, but we will often contact you and other people who put on there that yes, you want to go into English education, and we'll email you and say, hey, this scholarship is due next Tuesday. I encourage you to apply. So that's why answer all those questions on that application as completely as possible, and take the time to do that application, because not only if you don't do it, you are not in the running for these other scholarships, you also may not get the information, get extra pushed out information about these other applications that are coming. So when you look on our scholarship page here, and we've got some information on there about FAFSA. Obviously, that is your first line of defense when you are applying for college. You are also going to do your FAFSA. That opens up in October every year, and that's something you really want to be getting done. I encourage students to do it before Christmas break. You don't have to do it on October 1st, obviously, but get it done. It sounds very difficult, and when we explain what the FAFSA is, it sounds like something that's just going to be a huge pull on your time, and that it's just going to ask you a whole bunch of information that you don't know. You and your parents are going to know the answers to these questions, and it really doesn't take nearly as long as it did 20 years ago when I was in high school and going to college. So FAFSA, that's your first line of defense. But we do have a lot of local scholarships that are available, and that if I've clicked on that, it is coming up. So basically what we have here is hundreds of scholarship opportunities. Some of them are nationwide programs, some of them are statewide programs, some of them are school specific, college specific programs, but the majority of them are local scholarships that are funded by Ruritan clubs, little leagues, PTSOs at elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, just different places. And you'll see that there are a few that are due in the fall, but the bulk of them are due when you get around Christmas time, and then especially January, February, March, April. We have them organized by the date that they are due. And some of them you will look at, let me find an example here. So some of them you will look at and you will see that it is available only for students that are at Hadley or Hanover. But some of them do not have that distinction, so they're open to everybody. So that's how we do that. This is updated as we get the scholarship information. So don't go on there once and say, well, I've applied to all the ones that makes sense for me to apply to. Keep going back on there weekly, as often as you possibly can, because we are adding information on there all the time. As soon as we get it, we put it on there, and as soon as we put it on there, you can see it.
Thank you. What tips do you have for students applying for scholarships?
We have several. I'm making sure I'm not on mute. We have several tips. One last thing I just wanted to point out about our senior scholarship application, if I may, is a lot of times students will do the senior scholarship application and then think that qualifies them for submitting an application for all those scholarships that Jared just showed you, or Mr. Collier just showed you. And that is not the case. The senior scholarship application is a separate entity from all of that big list of scholarships that you can apply for. So two things: senior scholarship application helps you to be considered for any scholarships that are run through the high school and decided on by the senior scholarship committee. That big list of scholarships, they have their own applications, and you'll need to submit and fill out those applications on your own and submit them to where the donor has asked you to send them to. I just want to mention that because I always get a lot of questions about those two things. So, but in regards to just, tips for scholarships and for students that are applying, there's a couple things that come to mind. Number one is, and I'll go through about 10. Number one is get started early on this process. It's kind of like with anything, the more work you put into it, the more you get out of it. So when you see our messages start to come out about senior scholarship application, jump right on it. We know how busy you all are during senior year, so make sure that you get that process, get it out of the way and kind of off your plate, and then you don't have to worry about it, and you'll be able to be considered for lots of scholarships. So get started early. Make sure you read the directions very carefully. A lot of scholarships have very specific deadlines. Some of them you have to apply by 5 p.m. on a certain date. They have certain directions in terms of how you submit the scholarship for them or to them. That can make a huge difference in you being considered or not, because they want to make sure that you're following the directions. Answer all the questions, make sure you meet the eligibility criteria. And if you need any help with deciphering and kind of figuring out what scholarships you should be applying for, that's where we want you reaching out to us, your career counselors. Make sure you focus on your strengths. That's really critical. This is your opportunity to sell yourself, so to speak, and to really showcase all those wonderful things that you've done. And sometimes I'll have students that will meet with me and say, I haven't done a ton of clubs or had, been involved in a lot of things, but really sit down and talk with us and let us help you kind of find those things. I bet you have actually done sometimes more than you think, and let us kind of help you walk through that and identify those strengths and things that would be a great thing to put on your scholarship application. So be honest. That's, everybody knows that, and that's really simple, but, make sure you're being honest in your application. Don't put clubs on that you weren't really a part of, and things like that. And believe it or not, I've seen it before. So just be honest. Have several people proofread your application. I can't stress that enough. A spelling mistake alone could kind of get you taken out of the pool for a scholarship. So just really spend the time, proofread your application, have somebody proofread your essay if there is one as part of the application. Also make sure that you make a copy or scan of any kind of documents that you're submitting, any applications. That's really important. We certainly hope things would never get lost in email, in the mail, but there's times when they might. So just so that you're covering yourself too, make sure you're making a copy. I know Mr. Collier and I do that as well of anything that we submit. So always good rule to make a copy or scan of any documents or applications. Also submit the application by the deadline. Can't stress that enough. Again, simple thing. But sometimes scholarships will have, okay, we want your application to be received by this date, or we want it postmarked by this date. So meaning you would have had to take it to the post office and make sure they stamp it with that particular postmark date. And then the donor could receive it after that. So those things, those are kind of the reading the directions really carefully and making sure you're just aware of all those items. Allow yourself time to request recommendation letters from teachers, from coaches, from individuals, service organizations. Just give people time to do those recommendation letters for you. And that goes along with applying for colleges as well, or any kind of trade technical school. If they're asking for a recommendation and you need to ask somebody, give them the time to do it. You know, because sometimes people may have already, you know, had a lot of students ask them for a recommendation and might not be able to have the time to complete one for you as well. So get a jump start on all that, ask for recommendations early. And then finally, probably one of the most important things that we can say is always send a thank you note. We can't stress enough how important that is. You know, the scholarships that we have are because of the donors in our community that are really gracious and generous with our students, and they want to give and they want to help, but they do also want to be, you know, see a thank you and be thanked for their generosity towards us and to our schools and our students. And it's, again, a simple thing, but it's always the best thing to always send a thank you note. We ask any of our scholarship winners to do that, but it is pretty much a requirement and you would need to do that. So that's kind of the final thought on tips for scholarships. A great question.
Thank you. And is there anything else students should know about applying for scholarships?
Yeah, so Ms. Edwards covered pretty much everything that needed to be covered, but definitely I want to reiterate, read the directions, follow the directions. You know, if there are 4 people that turn in an application, and I don't care how good of an applicant you are, if 3 of them have obviously read the directions and turned in every item, and it looks neat and it looks like it's well thought out, you are not going to be considered in most situations because you did not complete everything, you did not follow the directions. So make sure you do that. And when you write an essay, take your time. I always say you should not view applying to scholarships and looking for scholarships as just a one-time thing or something that you're going to do really quick. Those people who receive a lot of scholarships, it's because they applied for a lot of scholarships. When you look at our program, our senior awards program, and it seems like there's that one student who got 10 different scholarships. You know, why did they get those 10 different scholarships? Because they applied for 25 of them. You're not going to get every scholarship that you apply for, but the more time you put into it, hopefully, the more you're going to get out of it. And just because you are a student, you are not a student who has a 4.6 GPA and you have taken all AP classes or you're an IB candidate. Just because you are not that person does not mean that there are not scholarships out there for you. There are scholarships when you look on our spreadsheet that are, you know, they're fine-tuned for the person who has between a 2.5 and a 2.9 GPA, or somebody that has between a 3.0 or a 3.75. There are scholarships that are just for students who are going into a community college or trade school, just for students who are going to nursing school. So those opportunities are there regardless of what kind of student you are. If you are a college-bound student, there are scholarship opportunities out there for you. And one other plug that I wanted to put in, and I don't have a link for it, but we have shared that information out in the past and we'll continue to share that information out. But look up the big future opportunity scholarships. Those are really easy money if you can get them, but everything that you are doing as a part of that scholarship program is something that you need to be doing as a spring semester junior or summer before senior year, beginning of your senior year. You sign up for this program, you search for colleges, you make a college list, you search for careers, you fill out your FAFSA. And as you do those things, Big Future, which is the people who make AP classes that do the PSAT, the SAT, programs like that, those that organization puts you in the running for some $500 scholarships, some $10,000 scholarships, and I think a big $40,000 scholarship. And we've had students in the area who have gotten those in the past. And it's a win-win type of situation, because you are doing the things that you should be doing anyway, and they help you with that. But because you're doing them, they put you in the running for some money for school. So that's a great tool. I'm a big fan of it. So definitely look for that. We'll push out some more information about that very soon. But just Google it, look up big future opportunity scholarships, and you'll learn more about that from there.
All right. Thank you. That really wraps it up for us today. Thank you, Ms. Edwards and Mr. Collier, for all these sharing all these amazing resources with us today about scholarships and career counseling stuff. Caden Bunting, thank you for helping out by asking these great questions. And thanks to everyone who's tuned in to watch. Hope everyone has a good day.